I almost lost my £3 million coaching and consultancy business, and here's 5 key things that I've learned along the way. To give you a little bit of context, my name is Jazz Rose, and I started and scaled my first coaching and consultancy company age 17. I scaled it from £30 to 3 million, and eventually I sold it in 2020. But along the journey, there were some incredibly challenging times and some incredible things that I've learned along the way that I want to share with you so that you can gain insights that help you to move along the journey of creating millions of pounds in your business way faster, way quicker, and way easier. First, nobody is in full control of your business but you. Now, as you grow and scale a company, you start to hire the right kind of people, you start to hire director level. In my business, and it was a sports coaching and consultancy business initially, and we transitioned that to being able to teach music, dance, drama, ICT, French, Spanish in primary schools all across London and the southeast of England. And I grew it to a point where we had up to 150 staff members at one point. Now, when I say that nobody is in full control of your financial future but you, here's what I mean. I remember one time, I must have been about 28 years young. And at this point, we're doing 3 million. We have a commercial director in place. We have an education director in place. And we also have a finance director in place. So at this point, I'm sort of edging away from the day-to-day business. I'm coming in once or twice a week, checking in on everything, making sure that everything's okay. But you get to the point in your business when if you spend too much time in the office, you're kind of meddling with things that you don't want to be meddling with because people have been working on a certain project for weeks, maybe months, and you don't want to be just coming and be like, change that, right? So you don't want to be like a tyrant. So I was at this point where I was spending more time, working on the business from home, building connections, building relationships, etc. I remember my chief financial officer phoned me and she said, "Oh, you need to come into the office." And I was like, "It's Tuesday, I don't usually come into the office on Tuesday." She said, No, it's very serious. I need you to come in. So the next day I drove into the office shaking and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I don't usually get these calls. Like, why is there such a uncomfortable feeling that I'm resonating with right now? I remember she walked into the office room and we've got a massive office with a big white conference table and sort of red sofas on the right hand side there. And she comes in with a mug and her hand is shaking and she looks at me and said, "You're going to need to sit down for this." And I was like, "Hey, like, what's going on? Like, how are you?" She was like, "Ew, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but this month we can't make payroll." I felt like my world was shattered. I felt like everything that I had worked so hard for over the past 12, maybe 13 years had literally started to come tumbling down. I was like, "What do you mean? Everyone is in their right place. I've got a team now. We've been paying payroll every single month, no problems, no questions asked for the last 10, maybe even 12 years at this point. What's going on?" And initially, my first thought was to blame everybody. What's the commercial director doing? Why are they not bringing in enough sales? What's the finance director doing? Isn't that what I put you in place for? But I learned something very, very pivotal through that lesson, which is that nobody can be in complete control of your business but you. And essentially, we had money coming in from schools, from clients, etc., but the payments weren't due till the following month, and payroll was due in about 14 days. And I just almost started breaking down, because we were about 100 grand short. And then I remember speaking to one of my friends about this issue. And this is the power of having good connections with good friends. And he was like, "Oh, 100 grand. Don't worry, sort that out. No problem." He said, "Wait till you have 300 grand overdraft. When you wait till you have 300 grand excess bills that you can't afford to pay right now." It's like, that's normal. That's every day in business. And just hearing that from a friend of mine was like, okay, cool. Like, I can relax a little bit. The problem isn't as big as you think it is. And that's one key lesson inside the lesson, right? The problem is never as big as you think it is. And there's always somebody else that has been through that journey, that been through that challenge, that can walk you through the process in order to fix it. Now, over the next 12 months or so, things weren't easy. However, we did get things back in place and we did successfully manage to make payroll and keep everyone and the business afloat. Lesson number 2 is hire the right people at the right place. This is absolutely critical for any business that you run. You want to make sure that you've got good people in good positions. Here's the mistake that I see a lot. Entrepreneurs, they would hire somebody to do a delivery role, as an example, and then they're really good at delivery. Let's say it's a salesperson, they're really good at making sales. So then they bring in a few more salespeople, and over time they say, hey, John, you would be a great sales manager. We're going to promote you to sales manager. Question is though, does John have sales management skill? Does John have sales management competency? Does John have sales management experience? Because if not, you're going to have to train, and you're going to have to train really well. Now, it's not to say that you can't progress people, because that is an important point. However, what you have to do, if you're going to progress people through the ranks, you've got to do it slowly, steadily, and move at a cadence that works in alignment with their growth trajectory. What do I mean by that? You've got to make sure that you do online training, live in-person training, and make sure that that training with them is consistent. Also, a key tip is to have the training online in a way which includes quizzes and tasks for them to complete. Because if you don't do that, you're going to trust John because he's been doing such a great job over the last X number of years. But the problem will be that they will have incompetency in a certain area that you're not yet privy to, and you won't probably be privy to it until things start coming crashing down. So you've got to hire the right people, put them in the right place, and train. I can't emphasize the importance of training people to do the thing that you want them to do and training them to your standard. Recently, we just hired a salesperson here at our company, and one of the lessons that I learned, and I had to figure this out, was like, he's come from a sales background, very experienced. He comes from a company that I already know, like, and trust, and they do, like, their company, they do sales training, right? So he is, in some would say, a sales expert, a sales professional. And I had to decide, well, should I train this person aligned with our culture, aligned with the way that we do things, aligned with our sales process, or has he got a dialed in sales process already? And I realized, just for a little bit of thinking time, that, hey, you're going to train them based on your philosophy, your culture, your company ethos, because then they can blend the skills that they've learned previously and then merge them in with yours. Write this down. Hire based on culture, not based on skill. Because when you've got the right people with the right culture, you can always develop a skill and you can always nurture the talent. However, if you've got a tyrant in your business that is really good and effective at what they do, but they have a negative culture, a negative attitude, or just a culture or attitude that doesn't align with your brand ethos, then, my friends, you will have problems. And those problems will spread like wildfire. So make sure that you hire the right people, put them in the right place to do the things that they are highly skilled and highly competent at, so that you can drive the business forward, whilst ensuring they are aligning with your brand message, your brand ethos, and everything that you do. Don't just hire a HR director, or don't just hire a operations director or an operations manager just because you think, oh my goodness, they're really, really good and they will definitely fit in. No. You've got to nurture that fit in. One of the things that you might want to incorporate is, when you interview people, interview them and have conversations with them prior to hire in a relaxed environment, in a bar, at lunch, etc. Because you want to see how they behave around other people, how they behave around other team members, etc. That is really, really important, and it will save you months of time of hiring somebody for 6 months, then having to change things, and then having to rehire and retrain again. Annoying. You don't want to do that. Ask me how I know. Number 3 is to hire from companies who have already done the thing that you want to do. Now, I remember when I used to run JNC Academy and JNC Education, which are 2 companies that I ran. One company did PE, music, languages, art and drama in primary schools, and the other company, JNC Academy, did the preschool and post-school after-school clubs and all of the after-school care provision. Now, one of the things that we were stuck at around, where were we? We were stuck between 1 and 2 million, and we were struggling to scale to 3. And we've been struggling to scale to 3 for some time. And we had some sort of friction points in the business. And I started to recruit, and I started to look for people who were really, really talented. I started to hire someone. I looked out for a hire for, I think it was like an operations manager or something like that. And the salary was around like 35 grand that I put on the ad. However, I got in contact with somebody. And I remember when I used to go to schools, right? I remember I went to one particular school in Acton, and there was 2 people competing for the deal. And I went in and I delivered my normal conversational style approach in terms of explaining to the head teacher what we do, how we help, etc. And then as I was walking out, some slick dude with some slick back hair with like really cool oily skin just walks in with a big smile on his face and a salmon pink shirt. And he looks at me, he smiles, he nods, he walks into the head teacher's office, and I was like, huh? Like, how, like who's this person going in? So a week later, I get a call from the school and they're like, oh yeah, really sorry, we're going to go with another company. We think you did really, really well, blah, 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 blah. And this happened a few times where this same guy was getting the deals that I wanted to get. However, when I put this ad online, funny enough, we'd built up some sort of relationship on LinkedIn. We got in touch with each other and he was like, hey, I'm interested in the role, etc. In the end, we ended up hiring this person because he was at a company that was already doing around about 5 million. My company at this point, we were doing about somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million. And I was like, if this guy's already been in the company at a senior role that's doing 5 million, maybe they can bring some things in. And obviously he was highly skilled at what he did, and he came on board as a sales director. So when he came on board as a sales director on a significantly higher salary than what we initially put out for, we'll share more about that insight on another video. When we hired for that specific role, then he was amazing. He got off to a rock-roaring start. I don't even know if that's a word, but hey, rock-roaring, let's make it up. So we got off to a really, really incredible start. And one of the things that people will do for your business is they will bring the clients over to you. Especially if you're hiring for like a senior role, he must have brought in about 10 to 15 clients within the first 6 to 9 months from the previous business over to our business. It was amazing. So that immediately gave a really good, powerful cash injection to the business. And obviously that paid for his salary, his bonuses, etc. And that transition, literally that one hire, helped us to scale from where we were at, like 2 million mark, and scale to £3 million within the next 12 to 15 months. So that right type of hire can really, really help you to make sure that you accelerate beyond where it is that you want to go quicker and with more ease and more speed. It's a little bit like buying a company, right? Especially when you hire someone from a top level, from somebody that's done the thing that you want to do. And just remember, so long as you remember to hire based on culture, not just skill, and make sure that you align them, immerse them, make them understand the vision, understand the mission of the company, understand the cultural ethos and how you do things here. Because how they do things over there won't always align with how you do things here. And once you can get that synergy, you will grow with traction and speed and effectiveness. Number 4, develop competency in all areas of the business. You want to make sure that you don't have to be an expert in everything, but I would say that you want to develop the skill level and understanding, a level of clarity when it comes to sales in your business. What's the process? When it comes to finance in the business, what's the process? When I almost lost my £3 million business and the CFO was like, we can't make payroll, like I didn't understand all the numbers as well as she did. And that was a problem for me because like there had been signals that I wasn't necessarily paying attention to, not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't understand it to the level, I didn't have the level of competency when it comes to understanding the finances, the profits, the loss, the cash flow statement, all of that sort of stuff. I didn't have the competency for that level that I needed at that point. So then I had to go away, I had to get competent, and that's why I started to build the business tracker, which you'll see pop up on your screen somewhere around here. And that's where I started to build that out so I can really get a clear understanding based on my language, my understanding, and my cultural ethos of how to actually understand these numbers, how to track them step by step along the journey so that we can thrive and we can make the right business decisions at the right times. And finally, look, number 5 is to make it fun. You've got to, business is challenging. Business is never easy. Business is always going to have setups and you're always going to have setbacks. Accept it, enjoy it. So when something challenging happens in your business, I challenge you to do this. Laugh, go. Hey, what are we going to do about this then? How are we going to resolve this exciting challenge? Come into it with energy. Come into it with enthusiasm. Come into it with a vibration of connection that, hey, this problem is solvable, and we as a team, we as a collective, we as a unit, we are coming together in order to solve it and solve it successfully. How do you do that? One thing that I'd recommend is to make sure that you have regular events with your team, whether that's dinners, socials, interactive events where people can bring ideas together as well as trainings together. So if you can blend those two, you can blend in the social interactions with the training element. game changer, good level of influence, good level of connections between the team, good level of connections with the clients, and good understanding, good progress and development all along the journey. So if you can do those 5 things, nobody is in full control of your business. Make sure that you get to grip of everything. Number 2, make sure you've got the right people in the right place. Number 3, make sure you hire from companies that have already done the thing that you want to achieve, that will accelerate your growth faster than those things, and develop competency in all areas, whether it's sales, marketing, leadership, operations, delivery, etc. Develop a level of understanding there, and finally, make it fun. So if you've enjoyed that video, go ahead and subscribe, and I look forward to creating more content just like this for you, and feel free to share it with anyone that might benefit from receiving this video. I'm Jazz Rose, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you for sticking with me to the end, and I look forward to seeing you soon.